श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषये पुरोगणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। द्वैपायनष्टपुटनिष्कृतम् अप्रमेयं पुण्यं पवित्रं मदपापहरं शिवञ्च यो भारतं समधिगच्छति वाच्यमानं किं तस्य पुष्करजलैर्विशेषणेन यो घोषतं कनकशङ्कमयं दधाति विप्राय वेदशेष बहुश्रुताय एकाञ्च भारतकथां शृणुयात् समग्रां तुल्यफलं भवति तस्य चेति व्यासम् अष्टनप्तारं शक्ते पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकदातं नृपनिधिम् व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मणे वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। नमो धर्माय मदे नमः कृष्णाय वेदसे ब्राह्मणेभ्यो नमस्कृत्य धर्मान् मोक्षां शाश्वताम् नमो भगवते तस्मै व्यासाय मितदेशे यस्य प्रसादात् वक्ष्यामि नारायणकथाम् इमाम्। We were looking at fifth day's battle that concluded, and then the army on both sides were preparing for the sixth day's battle. So in that battle, on the Kaurava side and both on Pandava sides as well, both of them prepared their vyuhas, right? So their arrays they prepared. So on Kaurava side, they prepared again the mandala structure. So and on the Pandava side, the Yudhisthira disposes our army in the form of Vajra. So Vajra is diamond. So again we looked at everyday Kauravas and Pandavas preparing these different vyuhas, these different arrays. We looked at various things, right? So we looked at eagle-shaped, crane-shaped. We looked at Makara, so crocodile-shaped. We looked at half-moon-shaped, Ardhachandra-shaped, and then we looked at diamond-shaped, needle-shaped, various different shapes array formation, right? So these are a battle arrays form. This again, and when we looked at that formation also, we looked at where, for example, on Pandava side, where Arjuna is, where Bhima is, Yudhisthira, Virata, Dhrishtadyumna, Nakula, Sahadeva, Abhimanyu, all these Draupadi's sons, well of how similarly on the Kaurava side, each vyuha, we looked at how they structure where Bhishma sits or Drona-Viratas, Shalya, and all these warriors they come across. But throughout the day, we see that Bhishma, Drona, even though they are, for example, at two ends of a view, one in the head, another one is in the tail or right wing or whatever of that shape they formed, suddenly they come together, or they Shalya or Bhima or Bhishma or whoever it is, they come together. Similarly, on Pandava side, Abhimanyu and Arjuna come together, or Bhima and Arjuna come together, Yudhisthira or Nakula Sahadeva come together, even though they were formed as a one as right wing of a crane and left wing of a crane, they come together, right? So to rescue one another. How does this happen? So this is like if you want to compare this with modern day sports, for example. Okay, so any sports you take, there is always a strategy they prepare, right? How they form the team and how they normally team sports. I'm talking about not like tennis or something where it is individuals play. Let's say in a team sports, you see the formation they come through. Say, for example, football, you look at formation of saying that 3-4-2-1, so or 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, different formation is formed. How many defenders you have, how many midfielders you have, how many attacking fielders you have, and things like that, players you have. Or then opposition also have their own formation. Match starts, and halfway through or some few minutes of game playing, if the opposition is very strong and breaking your formation, you're not strong, then your player suddenly starts switching the formation to make sure that you are getting an upper hand, right? So like that. Similarly, if you take, for example, cricket, for example, okay, so you probably start with 5 fielders in the slip position, okay, thinking that you're going to bowl everything on the body and then it's going to get a catch and things like that. 5 slip fielders. But the batsman is so strong, he starts hitting everything to boundary or sixes. Then suddenly remove one or two slips and then move them to boundary line, right? Or midfield or somewhere you move them, right? So you moved into some other positions. Just like that here as well, they start the battle in the best position they think is A, it's going to protect them. B, it's going to give them the advantage in penetrating into the enemy troops, okay, and then hurt them the most. On the other same side, as the battle progresses, if, for example, Arjuna is released a celestial weapon, it destroying everybody, or suddenly Shalya has lost his charioteer and horses and everything, and he is stuck there, he is on the foot, then suddenly somebody, Duryodhana or somebody, need to come and rescue him. Even though Duryodhana is slightly on the other side fighting, he had to abandon that part and come and rescue the whoever is struggling. Right? Similarly, things here as well. We see that they form every morning, they form these formations. Again, the formation gives them the structure, the control, and everything. But it's not that throughout the day they fight in the same formation. Because of the events that take place around them, they have to adapt and they have to be prepared and continue to defend them and then gain advantage. That's what we see that. That's why we see, even though, for example, when that half moon shape was formed, Bhima was one end, Arjuna was another end, and then throughout the day, you see them all mixing together, right? So that's how it is. So at our crocodile shape formed. There was one probably in the tip and the nose, mouth area, another one probably in the tail, but sometime during the day, they all come together. So that's how it is. So here on this day, Kauravas found mandala, which is circular patterns, and then different patterns going one through another, and Yudhisthira forms the diamond-shaped Vajra formation. So at that battle, when the battle starts, Drona proceeded against Matsya, Ashwatthama against Shikhandini, and Duryodhana himself went against Dhrishtadyumna-Nakula Sahadeva, they went against king of Shalya. Vinda of Avanti, they went against Iravat, Arjuna's son, and then many kings together, united together, went against Arjuna. Bhima again went against Kritavarma, and Abhimanyu went against Chitrasena and Vikarna and Durmarshana, Hidimba's son Ghatotkacha. He went against with Bhagadatta, and then Alambusha went against Satyaki, like this. Many of them went. Bhurisravas went against Dhrishtaketu-Bhurisravas, went against Srutayush, Chekitana went against Kripa. Like this, the battle continued. So again, all those Kuru warriors, again exhausting their strength and everything, they proceeded against Bhima. Thousands of kings, chariot riders, everybody united together went against Arjuna, facing Arjuna. So then Arjuna, taking in great anger, he goes against those Kaurava warriors, and he tells Krishna that, see that all those Dhritarashtra troops, all of them protecting Bhishma, they all very strong and brave warriors, all of them with Trigartas protecting them in front of Bhishma. So take me there, I will kill all of them today. So having said that, so Krishna takes his chariot towards that. So then the battle starts between Arjuna and those Trigarta chariot riders, the Rathis, Maharathis on Trigartas, who come there in protecting Bhishma on the sides. So all of them, Rishis, Devatas, Gandharvas, Uragas, everybody started seeing that battle. Arjuna at that time invokes Indra's weapon, and then through that, he starts killing all those warriors, thousands and thousands of them, kings, horses, elephants, everything. All of them were injured, pierced by Arjuna, with each of them with 2-3 arrows. He strikes and then he starts injuring them. And thus, when he was like striking like that, all of them ran and sought Bhishma's protection. And then in turn, Bhishma started coming and facing up to Arjuna. Then again in that battle, Susharman, who is Trigarta king, he stopped fighting because Arjuna was so strong he could not resist him, and then he was moving away. And at that time, again, Bhishma comes there, and he starts facing Arjuna. Duryodhana, seeing Susharman taking back steps, he goes and he asks him to go and protect Bhishma, and says that Bhishma is there today. He promised that he will do everything. He will become reckless and he will hurt Pandavas today. He will strike at Pandavas. So go and protect him. And hearing that, Susharman says yes, and he goes and starts again protecting Bhishma. So Bhishma comes upon Arjuna, and again both of them start fighting. There is no upper hand here. Both of them are equal and fighting each other, one another. So both of them continue to fight the battle on that day. So meanwhile, Drona, he goes against Matsyas, and he cuts off Virata's standard with one arrow, and then with another he cuts off bow, and then Virata taking large division alongside, and he cuts off, taking away that bow that has been cut off. He takes another strong bow, and then he releases another arrow towards Drona, and he strikes Drona with the 3 arrows, and his Drona's horses with 4. Like this, he strikes. So then Drona taking, and also Virata strikes at Drona's standard with 1 arrow, charioteer with 5 arrows, and then he strikes Drona's bow with 1 arrow. And then like this, he battles with Drona. Drona becomes very angry, and Drona kills Virata's horses at that time with 8 arrows, and then his charioteer, Virata's charioteer, with 1 arrow. So then charioteer, horses all killed. Virata jumps down from that chariot, and then he jumps onto his son Shanka's chariot, which was nearby. So then father and son both started fighting together from the same chariot. They start facing Drona. So Drona at that time angrily takes up an arrow, and then he strikes at Shanka. That arrow pierces Shanka in the chest, and then follows through on the other side. And with that, Shanka falls down on the earth, and he dies from that arrow, and Drona because of that Drona's arrow. So Shanka dies in front of Virata, standing on the same chariot. Shanka's chariot, Virata was standing at that time. Shanka is killed. Seeing this, Virata becomes very afraid, and he runs away from that battlefield. So seeing this, Drona becomes happy, and he continues to hurt the Pandava troops that were assembled there, and kills hundreds and thousands of Pandava troops, soldiers, horses, elephants that assembled there came along for the battle. Shikhandin, meanwhile, goes against Ashwatthama and strikes between his brows and with his eyebrows between 3. He strikes there with 3 arrows, and then Ashwatthama becomes very angry, and he strikes back at Shikhandini, and he kills Shikhandini's charioteers, and he cuts off his flagstaffs, he kills his horses and the weapons and everything. So then Shikhandini jumps down from that chariot, and then holds a polished scimitar, and then a shield, and then continues to resist Ashwatthama. So Ashwatthama tries to hurt Shikhandini, but Shikhandini on the ground, even though standing on the ground, continues to protect himself, and Ashwatthama could not do any harm. So then Ashwatthama, after that, he sends many thousands of arrows towards Shikhandini, but Shikhandini continues to protect. And then finally, Ashwatthama manages to cut that shield Shikhandini is holding, that into pieces, and also he strikes Shikhandini. He cuts Shikhandini's sword as well into 2 pieces, and also he strikes Shikhandini with winged arrows. Then Shikhandini, again taking that broken sword, he throws that at Ashwatthama, and coming towards it, Ashwatthama immediately breaks that into pieces through his own arrows. Then he strikes Shikhandini with large number of arrows. Shikhandini then injured like that, he mounts onto Satyaki's chariot, and Satyaki takes him away. So at that time, Satyaki, when he was fighting like that, Alambusha comes there, and Alambusha starts fighting with Satyaki. Satyaki, Alambusha cuts off Satyaki's bow, and then he strikes Satyaki also with many arrows. Then he creates illusion, because he's a Rakshasa, he creates illusion, and everywhere Alambusha from all directions through illusion starts striking Satyaki. Then Satyaki releases Indra weapon, Indra's weapon again, so which is he learned from Arjuna. So again, you probably remember Satyaki is Arjuna's learned his weaponry and everything from Arjuna. So Satyaki releases that weapon, and through that he then destroys the illusion, and then he strikes Alambusha with large number of arrows. From that, injured, Alambusha runs away in fear, avoiding battle with Satyaki. So then Satyaki becomes very loudly shouts in happiness, and then he continues to strike terror in Kaurava troops. Meanwhile, Dhrishtadyumna has battled with Duryodhana, and Dhrishtadyumna there he strikes with large number of arrows, and Duryodhana as well, even though Dhrishtadyumna is battling like that, did not fear, so he continues to fight, and then Duryodhana strikes Dhrishtadyumna in the battle with 60 arrows, and then with 30, like this they fight. And then Dhrishtadyumna in anger cuts off Duryodhana's bow, and then he kills 4 horses of Duryodhana, and then strikes him, Duryodhana, with 7 arrows. Then Duryodhana jumping down that from chariot, he starts running on the foot with his sword on his hand. He starts running towards Duryodhana. At that time, Shakuni comes there, and Shakuni takes Duryodhana, and he protects Duryodhana and takes on his chariot. So like this, Duryodhana was rescued in that battle from Dhrishtadyumna. Here, Kritavarman, in another battle, Kritavarman battles with Bhima. So again, large number of arrows, they strike each other, continue to have battle. So they fight each other, one another. Then Bhima kills Kritavarman's 4 horses, and also he kills his charioteer, then destroys his flag. Like this, Bhima fights, and then Bhima then strikes Kritavarman with many arrows as well. So Kritavarman, like that, he pierced by Bhima. He quickly went to Vrishaka, chariot of Vrishaka, and then at that time, both Shalya and Duryodhana, they all came there to protect Kritavarma. So then Bhima started fighting with them. So Dhritarashtra, listening to this, he again repeats the same thing, blaming Sanjaya that you always report as if Pandavas are doing great and my sons do not have any power. They do not do any, they are not good for any battle. So you're describing like that. They are deprived of energy. You're constantly being defeated. My sons are constantly defeated. So all this is happening because of destiny. Otherwise, how can Bhishma, Drona, Kritavarma, Shalya, all these great warriors, Bhagadatta and many others could be defeated? All this is happening because of destiny, he says. And then Sanjay says that all of the men, your men, they were giving their all 100% in that battlefield. They displayed their strength and courage, everything, all to the maximum they did. But just as rivers, when they enter into even whatever the big Ganga or whatever the river, that large river that enters into ocean becomes salt, just like that, Pandavas entering into that Pandava army, your warriors become, their efforts become useless, futile. So that's why, even though they are giving all their effort, don't blame them for not trying. And again, Sanjay reminds that all this destruction that's happening of this entire population that's there entering Yama's place is because of your misconduct and also of your sons. So that's why whatever that has come as your fault, you should not grieve for those things. So all the warriors on that battlefield were having only one aim, that is heaven or victory. So they, thinking about heaven only, they went in that battle, and great carnage took place in that morning. So listen to all that. I'm going to narrate you, and then he continues his narration. So we were looking at Bhima and Kritavarma battles. Now Sanjaya continues narration. He talks about Vinda Anuvinda of Avanti, the two princes from Avanti, battling against Arjuna's son Iravat. So they again have great battle with Iravat. They pierced Iravat, strikes those two brothers with sharp arrows. He dispatches Anuvinda's chariot, horses and charioteer, and then he also cuts off bow of Anuvinda. Then Anuvinda jumps down from that chariot and he mounts on his brother Vinda's chariot. So then both of them brothers united together fighting against Iravat. Iravat again fights both of them together. So the Iravat again, once again, he strikes against now on Vinda's chariot. Both of them are standing and fighting from there. He kills that charioteer as well. So then when that charioteer was killed, those the horses, nobody controlling, so the horses run away from that battlefield to in wrong direction and they leave the battlefield. So like this, so Iravat, who is son of Ulupi, Nagakanya, if you remember Adi Parva, Arjuna, when he went on a Tirtha Yatra, right, when Pandavas were in Indraprastha, hopefully you remember the story. Arjuna enters Yudhisthira's chamber when he was alone with Draupadi, and for that he goes on a Tirtha Yatra, right? And through that, while he was going on a Tirtha Yatra, once he was in Ganga river, Ulupi drags him into the Nagaloka, and through that, there Arjuna marries her, and that son born there is Iravat. Okay, so Iravat is battling there. So now that's the flashback. Now coming to the battlefield, Ghatotkacha, Bhima's son, he goes against Bhagadatta, king of Pragjyotisa. So they fight. Both of Bhagadatta is Narakasura's son. Hidimba's son is Ghatotkacha. So both of them fight again. Very angrily they fight each other. Both of them very strong, and they fight with one another. So Ghatotkacha again in that battle, he covers Bhagadatta with large number of arrows, but again Bhagadatta very strong. He cuts off all those arrows and strikes Bhagadatta with large number. Ghatotkacha with large number of arrows. So Bhagadatta again in that he strikes 14 lances towards Ghatotkacha, and Ghatotkacha cuts off all that, and then he strikes back at Bhagadatta with 7 arrows, and then again he kills horses of Ghatotkacha. When those horses were killed, still Ghatotkacha standing on that, he continues to fight, and Bhagadatta cuts off with quick arrows. He cuts off the arrows coming from Ghatotkacha. So seeing like that battle that's coming through, Ghatotkacha runs away from that battlefield, leaving Bhagadatta in that battlefield. He runs away from that battle. Meanwhile, Shalya fights with his nephews, his sister's sons, Nakula and Sahadeva. So Sahadeva, seeing Shalya in that battle, he covers him with large number of arrows, and they fight, and then Shalya at that time removes, kills Sahadeva's horses. Sahadeva then jumps onto Nakula's chariot, and both brothers united together. They have battle with Shalya. So Sahadeva in that battlefield, he cuts off, he kills Shalya's charioteer, and he then strikes Shalya with good number of arrows, and then Shalya with those horses, those arrows hurt, he faints in that battlefield and sits down on his chariot. So seeing him like that, injured like that, his charioteer takes him away from that battlefield. So then all Nakula Sahadeva, they again become very happily, they blow their conch shells. Meanwhile, in the other side of the battlefield, Yudhisthira is battling with Shrutayush, and Shrutayush again, both of them with great battle takes place between them. Yudhisthira strikes him with 9 sharp arrows, and then Shrutayush again cuts those arrows and strikes Yudhisthira with 7 arrows. So then again, Yudhisthira becomes very angry. He strikes at with sharp arrows shaped like boar's ears. He quickly cuts off flag of Shrutayush. Then, seeing his flag cut off like that, Shrutayush again strikes Yudhisthira with 7 sharp arrows. With this, Yudhisthira becomes very angry, and seeing him angry like that, all the Devatas, Gandharvas, Rakshasas, everybody became agitated because you remember previously as well we said Yudhisthira with anger alone, Vyasa and everybody said anger alone he could destroy entire Kuru warriors because he had done so much, accumulated so much austerities and dharma is accumulated. Because of that, he could destroy the entire thing. So here, when he gets angry, everybody becomes worried. But then, all the rishis and devatas, everybody prayed for the peace of the world at that time, seeing Yudhisthira angry. Then Yudhisthira calms himself down, bringing patience. He cuts off Shrutayush's bow, and then he strikes Shrutayush with a large number of arrows. Then he kills with Shrutayush's horses as well. Then Shrutayush, leaving that chariot, he runs away from that battlefield. From Yudhisthira, he runs away and then he goes to the other place. So like this, Yudhisthira in that battle continues to fight. Chekitana, he fights with Kripa, and again battle takes place between them, and Chekitana, Kripajar cuts off the Chekitana's bow. He kills with broad arrows. He kills charioteer of Chekitana and then kills also horses. And like this, they were fighting. Then Chekitana jumps down from that chariot and then takes up a mace. And from that mace, he kills Kripa's horses and then charioteer as well through that mace. Then Kripa, standing on the ground, he strikes 16 arrows at Chekitana, and then those arrows again pierces Chekitana. And Chekitana again, angrily, he strikes one more mace towards Kripa. And then Kripa at that time, so with many thousands of arrows, he strikes that, destroys that mace. So like this, Chekitana again, drawing one more sword from his from the sheath, he rushes towards Gautama, Kripacharya, and then Gautama as well. So throwing his bow, he takes up another sword. So like this, both of them come towards each other, and then both of them continue to fight, and finally exhausted by their efforts made from both of them went into swoon. So both of them faint, and then they continue to they become very tired. At that time, Shakuni comes there and he takes up Kripa in this chariot, and similarly Karakasha comes there and then he takes up Chekitana on his chariot and takes him away. So meanwhile, Dhrishtaketu fights Bhurisravas, and Bhurisravas in that battle again, he removes Dhrishtaketu of his chariot, he destroys his chariot, Dhrishtaketu's chariot, by killing his charioteer and horses. And at that time, Dhrishtaketu jumping down from that chariot, he goes on to Shatanika's chariot. Chitrasena, Vikarna, Durmarshana, all these warriors, they come against Abhimanyu, and Abhimanyu in that battle again, all of them he faces alone, and then he kills their charioteer and horses, but he did not kill any of them, Chitrasena, Vikarna, Durmashana, remembering Bhima's promise that Bhima would kill all those 100 brothers. Abhimanyu did not kill. Again, I think last time I said Dushkarna was killed by Shatanika, and I wasn't sure whether Dushkarna was one of the brothers. Again, because as we look here as well, Abhimanyu did not kill any of this, even though he could, because he remembers Bhima's promise. And Dushkarna again, I think last week I mentioned Shatanika killed him. I again checked back because in Adi Parva we had 100 sons of Dhritarashtra's named Gandhari's sons' names, right? And that Dushkarna was not one of the names, even though in the narration of the events last week when we looked at, Shatanika was battling with Duryodhana's brothers, along with Dushkarna was there. Maybe Dushkarna is not one of Duryodhana's brothers. Maybe he is one of his nephews or sons or something like that. So Shatanika did not kill one of Duryodhana's brothers. So that's all we can take, because Dushkarna was not one of the Gandhari's 100 sons named in the Adi Parva. So that's a clarification. Now we continue the battle. So here we come back to Arjuna and Bhishma. So again, both cannot be defeated by anybody. So Arjuna battling with Bhishma, he tells Krishna that take the horses towards where Abhimanyu is, because Abhimanyu is surrounded by all these Duryodhana and his brothers. Take him there. So then Krishna takes him in that direction. While he was going like that, Bhishma addresses Susharma, Trigarta king. So he addresses him saying that this Arjuna is always your old enemy. So today, go and fight with him. So and at that time, Susharman comes in front and blocks Arjuna. So Arjuna says that you are our old enemy. I will kill you today, and I will send you to Pitrus, Yama's Adab. So saying this, they start battling. So Arjuna covers him and with large number of arrows. So Arjuna, with those arrows, he cuts off with great force many successive arrows that come from Susharman, but Susharman again continues to battle with them. So he advances towards Arjuna. So 32 other Rathis from Trigartas also come and face Arjuna, and all of them were killed by Arjuna. So the battle continues like that. So Arjuna continues to downpour in that battle angrily, large number of arrows. So he releases 60 arrows, and having defeated all those warriors, the Rathis that came, 60 of them from Trigartas towards Arjuna. Arjuna continues, and then he goes towards Bhishma. Then Susharman, seeing all his friends and charioteers, everybody killed, he again goes against Arjuna. And then Pandavas, headed by Shikhandini, all those come in advance and start supporting Arjuna where Arjuna was there. And Duryodhana as well sends Jayadratha, he sends, and other warriors towards Bhishma for supporting. So, but Arjuna, avoiding Duryodhana, Jayadratha, and others, he goes towards Bhishma. So then, in that battle, again Yudhisthira, he strikes again, fights with Shalya and Bhima, and he addresses Bhima. He also again takes up Bhima, Nakula, Sahadeva, and he goes towards Bhishma. So like this, Arjuna with his 4 other brothers, all of them together, all of them start fighting Bhishma. So, but Bhishma again resists all of them. So Duryodhana as well, seeing Yudhishthira and everybody, Bhima, everybody there, and he also sends Kripa, Shala, Chitrasena, everybody towards in that battlefield. So the Yudhishthira in that battle sees Shikhandini and who was running away from Bhishma in that battle. So he reminds him that in that previously you promised that you are born to kill Bhishma, but now today you are running away from him. Don't be that person who dies with unfulfilled vow. So take pride and go and face Bhishma in this battle, just as you promised. Go and fight. He encourages him and reminds him his duties and his vows he made. So hearing this, Shikhandini agrees, and Shikhandini starts going against. He rushes towards Bhishma. Meanwhile, Shalya again comes and in between and starts to resist him. So here, Dhrishtadyumna, so Dhrishtadyumna comes in that battlefield, and again he continues to fight. So Shikhandini, not Dhrishtadyumna, Shikhandini comes there and has that battlefield with Shalya, and he releases, he takes up fierce Varuna weapon because Shalya was releasing so many arrows and things. So he releases the Varuna weapon and he destroys all the weapons coming from Shalya through that Varuna weapon. Meanwhile, Bhishma again cuts off flags of all the 4 warriors on Pandava's side: Yudhisthira, Nakula, Sahadeva, Bhima, and but obviously Arjuna's flag nobody can destroy. So he was having that battle with those 4 of them, and then in that battle again Yudhisthira was seen to be very much overwhelmed with fear of Bhishma, and then seeing that, Bhima rushes towards him, and then at Jayadratha as well, he runs against Jayadratha. Jayadratha with 500 terrible arrows, he strikes at Bhima, and then Bhima again in that battlefield kills horses of Jayadratha. So then Bhima, seeing Bhima on foot, Chitrasena rushes towards Bhima with the hope of killing him, and then Bhima in that battle again taking up a scimitar and shield. He goes, Chitrasena comes in a scimitar and shield. He rushes towards his chariot, and then like that, so they battle each other. So Chitrasena and Bhima, they fight each other. So meanwhile, Bhima again throws a mace towards Chitrasena, and that mace destroys Chitrasena's chariot, and then Chitrasena escapes from that chariot. Then approaching Chitrasena, then with great energy, he comes towards Vikarna, and Vikarna, he jumps onto Vikarna's chariot, and then the battle again continues between them. So Bhishma rushes towards Yudhisthira, and then all the Srinjayas on the Drupada's army with their army, everybody, they all trembled because they all thought Yudhisthira was going to be already dead by the hands of Bhishma. So by that time, while the battle was taking place like that, the Nakula Sahadeva, they proceed towards that, and then they start resisting Bhishma. So the Yudhisthira then again in that battlefield continues to fight with Bhishma, and then with Nakula Sahadeva, they fight. Bhishma then kills the horses of Yudhisthira's horses. Then Yudhisthira, abandoning that chariot, he quickly jumps onto Nakula's chariot, and then the fight continues. But at that time, Yudhisthira starts thinking about this battle and how he is going to continue to fight. So as the afternoon approaches, Shikhandini continues to comes there, and he starts fighting and destroying. But Bhishma, remembering that he was a female, disregards him and then continues to avoid him and move away from Shikhandini. So the battle continues on the 6th day like that. So we will look at what happens towards the end of 6th day in the second half afternoon next time when we gather, and then hopefully cover some of the 7th day.